Welcome back to Crackerjack Movie Chat. I am your host, Peter J. McCluskey, joined by Mr. Robert Tombe
Hello.
and Mr. Ryan McLachlan.
Hello, hello.
So yeah, this is an episode we've talked about on and off, I'd say. Robert, you first suggested remakes might be a good one to do.
Yeah, we had thought about it. Remakes, reboots. I mean, there's a fine line. What's the difference? I don't know.
So yep, guess we'll be talking about that difference because we've just opened it up to anything. Remakes, reboots, reimaginings, whatever that may be. So yeah, another broad range of films we're discussing tonight. So I guess I'll just kick us off as per usual. I'm going with a film that, yeah, again, we've talked about this. It's a film that, because it's been remade again recently, remake prequel again recently, a lot of people probably don't remember that this is a remake, but it's John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982, which is a remake of a 50s film called The Thing from Another World. And I say, there seems like online in places and critical circles, there's a lot of chat about whether this, the 80s version or the 50s version, is better. But for me, I have seen the 50s version a couple of years ago, and it's cute is what I'll say. Like, it's an enjoyable 50s sci-fi romp, like in all the ways you kind of imagine, from like parodies on sitcoms or what have you. It's definitely the kind of film where you've got a lot of like soldiers and scientists standing around talking about like, oh, this is an alien. What does that mean for us? In like very like fast speak kind of way. And a lot of times it's just these people just walking around in groups together going, oh, what are we going to do when we find the thing in this base? And yeah, it's a fun watch is basically what I'd say, but it's not a great movie, the original Thing. But yeah, but The Thing from 1982, so John Carpenter loves the original Thing, and you even see, if you watch the original Halloween, which Carpenter made, they're watching the original, the 50s Thing on the telly, so very prophetic there. So basically the plot of The Thing, we all know this, I think, is you got this American base in the Antarctic where all of a sudden one morning a dog arrives on the base being chased by some Norwegians, and through like mishaps, like the Norwegians are trying to kill the dog and the Americans are all freaked out about it, and through some mishaps a grenade is dropped and the Norwegians are killed. So hey, end of the day, oh, the Norwegians must have just gone crazy with cabin fever, so we're going to take the dog in, no questions asked. But then, of course, the dog is revealed to be this mutated alien creature that can imitate anything it comes into contact with. So, of course, they managed to get rid of the dog, but there's the big question about, well, which of us has the dog come into contact with? And basically turns into this brilliant paranoia piece where there's just a complete tension throughout it where you don't know who to trust. And yeah, I feel like it's really aided both by Carpenter, who I'll get onto in a minute, but the cast, like aside from Kurt Russell, who plays the lead, a lot of these people you've probably like seen them in films, but they're not big stars. Like Keith David's probably the next biggest star there, who from like, even if like you don't recognize the name, you know Keith David as soon as you see him. Like he's been in hundreds of things, and yeah, it's just a like well constructed film, I'd say, where yeah, you like in the same way with Alien, where you just buy into the realism of the characters, where like there's not really much flash. Like it's not like, oh, traditional hero villain kind of thing. It's more just like a group of guys like just going mad with isolation in this base and already not trusting each other in the way that any normal human being would have issues with someone they've spent an entire winter with, basically. And yeah, of course, we get on to just some brilliantly tense scenes where Kurt Russell is like, they find a way of like testing blood, basically, of like poking blood with a hot shard of metal, and if it starts going all crazy and mutating, you're the thing, you're not human, and that's a really tense scene, really. And yeah, as I say, I'm a big John Carpenter fan in general. Like, there's variance to the quality of these films, but basically most of them, I would say, are definitely watchable. Like, in the best ones, of course, this, Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13. The guy like knows, kind of said this, and like just in my own, like just talking to people, he's kind of like a precursor to what Tarantino does with genres, where like he'll take like a generic B movie genre, but there will be like an elevation to it, basically, where with this movie it's like the brilliant effects and the tension of it all. Like, it really says something about, as I've said, how human beings interact with each other, on top of just being about like humans versus alien, basically. So yeah, basically just great film with great effects and great tension, great characters, and I feel like, yeah, the ways, all of those things are like why it's an improvement on the original for me, because as I've said, that original, I mean, to give the original its credit, you can feel its thumbprint in sci-fi for generations afterwards, like whether it be 60s and 70s Doctor Who or whatever. Like, it basically invented the base under siege genre, but yeah, it doesn't have much of the tension, like to the like point where I don't think anyone dies, or maybe two people die in that original thing. So it's an ideas film, and those ideas are brought forward by this remake. So yeah, The Thing, 1982, just brilliant sci-fi horror film. So you guys seen it?
No, I've never actually seen The Thing. I've heard about it for years, but it's been one I've just never seen. I had no idea Kurt Russell was in it as well. That actually really surprised me, the fact Kurt Russell was in it.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's actually in a lot of John Carpenter films, like Escape from New York was John Carpenter, Big Trouble in Little China was John Carpenter. So it's just one of those great, I mean, obviously they're thought of as B movies, so you're not, like, a lot of people don't hold them up in the same way that you'd say, oh, Brando and Coppola, that was a great actor-director pairing. But like, when you really think of it, like, Kurt Russell and John Carpenter is one of the great director-actor pairings for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it as well. I love The Thing. I didn't actually know it was a remake, so that's new to me. It's just a great film. I think it does spawn a very good game as well. I remember playing the game, but I think the game was set as a team comes in after it's happened, but that's irrelevant. But yeah, it leaves you a lot of questions as well, because are there people still debating who was the thing at the end? Or were they both it, or was none of them it? Or
yeah, because if we can like just say like spoiler alert here,
spoiler,
like
too late.
like because go ahead,
Spoiler,
5 minutes, because we're going to get into this. But like, yeah, sorry Ryan, but we're on this show, so so yeah, you have like at the end, Kurt Russell has basically killed everyone, like because everyone's infected at that point, so he's killed them all. But then Keith David, who disappeared about 15 minutes earlier, and who wasn't a thing when he disappeared, like comes out and meets him, and you have this brilliant tense ending where they just sit opposite each other, and it's like, is Keith David the thing? Is he not? Or has something happened to Kurt Russell since like he was last tested? And they just end the film there, and it's just, I want to talk about the score. Like, the score just thuds in at that point, and it's just one of these great ominous endings. Yeah, if I can go into the score more, it's like, you know, Ennio Morricone did the score, who did the Man with No Name trilogy's score. Yeah, and like, but the weird thing is, it's a great score, but it doesn't sound anything like the westerns he's done, and it sounds a lot like John Carpenter scores. And just for like clarity, John Carpenter usually does his own scores. So I'm wondering if it's just kind of like a weird situation where the studio have said, you're hiring a real composer, but Carpenter's just gone to Morricone and said, this is what you're doing with the score. You're doing exactly what I would do with the score. So yeah, it's It's a weird situation, but it totally works. And yeah, that downbeat ending is awesome.
Even the effects were brilliant as well. You see some of the pictures sometimes on your Facebook through certain film pages, and you always see like people always talk about the special effects in this film. Like I remember one bit was it was just the guy's head, big teeth, but he was on like a big long neck thing. Oh, brilliant! Yeah, the thing's brilliant, tense, great. Ryan, I suggest you watch it. Just forget the ending that we've said.
That's fine. I don't doubt something anyway. So
Yeah,
I remember there's Kurt Russell and Keith Davids. That's all I need.
yeah, that's it. Just big cut showing you his hair.
So yeah, Robert, what have you got for your best remake?
Right, I struggled, as you know. I always struggle. I had a few options, but I thought, no, let's go fun. I've went with the Mummy. No, not the Tom Cruise Mummy, because I'm sorry, I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise, but that was a just awful film. I've went with the Brendan Fraser Mummy, the 1999 one, I'm sure it is. No, we'll just talk about the first one. We'll not talk about the Mummy Returns, even though I did love that film as well. So I'm at the disadvantage that I haven't actually seen the original or any version of the Mummy before this, because I'm sure, Peter, you know, there has at least been a few, or at least one.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like it's in the tradition of a lot of like the big, famous original monsters, basically, where like Dracula, Frankenstein, where Universal does them in the 30s, then Hammer does them in the 40s, 50s rather. Then maybe you get a couple of low budget versions in the 70s, and then all of a sudden the 90s rolls around. You've got Coppola doing Dracula, you've got Ken Branagh doing Frankenstein, and now you've got The Mummy, which you're talking about. So it's a weird, it's a cycle with all these films, basically.
Yeah, so The Mummy was directed by Stephen Sommers. Everyone always says that casting, this was everyone's like crush casting of the 90s, because you had Brendan Fraser at the time. But by the way, I just need to say, Brendan Fraser had a career should have been a lot better. I think that man's been treated very, very poorly. There's been a lot of... It's only now recently that I've reading about this going, oh my God, that happened to him. And it's awful. Big ups, man. Brendan Fraser was brilliant. Everybody loved Brendan. We've also got Rachel Weisz playing Evelyn, who's like the love interest. She's like the very intelligent archaeologist, but she seems to do stupid things. She tries to grab a book from the top and destroys the whole library. We've also got Arnold Volsa, if I pronounced his name right. He plays the villain, the High Priest Imhotep. I don't think the guy says very much, but he's very good. There's something about it. It's one of those ones, not a lot is said, but you feel his presence, and it's great. And then obviously John Hannah plays Rachel Weisz's brother. John Hannah's brilliant. John Hannah just wants money. John Hannah's great. He's just a stupid treasure. He's never a treasure hunter. He just wants money. He's an idiot. But so basically, Brendan Fraser plays Richard O'Connell. What do we say about him? But the film is basically, this is it. You learn at the start that the High Priest Imhotep has been flirting about with this woman. This woman can't be touched, as she's actually the Pharaoh's mistress. Yes. And basically, what happens is she's wearing all this makeup, must be an absolute pain in the backside to put on. He touches her arm, it washes off. He's dragged away, Imhotep's dragged away by his priests. She then gets caught by the Pharaoh. She kills him, blah, 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 and she's took away. She kills herself and says, "You'll not touch." It's very well done. I'm not painting it great. The whole artwork of it is just, there's something about it, it's very fantasy. They go away to Hamunaptra, which I think is the city of the dead. Again, something I will say, this film, the visuals and the setup and like the scenarios, where they go, it looks so cool. Like they've done a great job of painting, if you would, like what ancient Egypt would look like. It's all very colourful. So basically, Imhotep's going to revive her. He gets caught, and then it's like you find that he was given this curse of 1,000. I don't know what the actual curse is called. But it's basically he's getting mummified while he's alive. So basically, we don't know how mummifying goes. It's not very pleasant. Brains out through the nostrils, eyes out, tongues out, all that lovely stuff. But he's put into this big crypt, which is then cursed, and he's put in with I think they're called scarabs. I which are like wee beetles that seem to eat you from the inside. They're actually very fascinating. They're great. So then it goes on in the future and it shows he's under the Anubis, which I think is it. I think this film's set either just before World War One or just after World War One. The times, I think it's set just after World War One. I might be wrong, but it's about that era, you know, between 1909 or 1920. You know, basically that decade, I'm sure. So Brendan Fraser is fighting which looks to be like the foreign legionnaire forces. I'm not so sure. He has a big battle at Hamanatra, and it turns out he's like the only one alive. Well, apart from his friend Benny, who you see in the film is just a coward, and he'll join whatever side's winning, but ultimately is a coward, and you would never trust him. He gets captured, Brendan Fraser's character, and Evelyn, which is Rachel Weisz's character, wants to go to Hamanatra, but he's been there. So you get a funny scene where Brendan Fraser's been hung, and she's trying to buy him. It's quite funny. It's funny in the sense that you have to watch it. It's a good haggle scene. They get there. They have the wee issues. They finally all get there. They go in different areas. Evelyn in that group finds Imhotep the mummy, but except he's not all. If anyone's ever seen a mummy, they are very like, you know, one expression someone described to me was like cardboard. Their skin's all gone. It's like they're dead bodies. They're all gone. He's still, as she puts it, or I think John Hannah puts it, he's still juicy. So in a sense, he has like a skeleton, but he's just juicy looking. Like he's still got muscle, which is right. So blah blah blah, stuff happens. The other group finds what look like little vases. It turns out these are the parts that Imhotep needs to rejuvenate, and it does say anyone who touches this will be cursed forever. And why the medical blah blah. They don't care. They think it's all a hoax. Evelyn steals the Book of the Dead, which is the revival book, from another archaeologist who finds it. She has the key. She opens it and she reads from the book. And for me, that whole scene's great because I remember watching this, and do you know, I still stupidly jump at this scene where I know it's coming, but she reads a book and her voice seems to get deeper, and it shows you the body of Imhotep, and then it'll scream, and it's getting louder. Oh, Dad, I don't know. I'm going to start speaking Egyptian. I'll be offensive. But she starts speaking, and then he screams. Imhotep's body screams. I still jump. I still find myself like getting startled like a child. It's just a whole great wee scene. Blah blah blah. So basically, without going through the whole plot, he's back. He wants his body parts. He wants to kill those that stole his wee body parts. So he's basically through the film rejuvenating. The CGI is 90s, so let's put that out. The CGI, you're going to watch it, you're going to go, CGI is terrible. It's the 90s, right? The 90s CGI I always put in a different era. 90s CGI was just fun. Just enjoy it for what it was. She basically also, he has a thing for Rachel Weisz's character, an Moon, he calls her, which is his love. So as well as destroying the world and getting his body parts, he has to get a sacrifice to bring his Moon back through Rachel Weisz's body. There's a lot going on, but it's a lot of fun. It's just so Brendan Fraser 90s. So much happens. I just don't want to ruin it. I don't want to go through the whole film, but it's just a very good film. It's very 90s. I keep saying 90s, but it is just a 90s film. I don't know what it is, how to describe it. People know what a 90s film is. It's just fun. Brendan Fraser's just fantastic in it. It's like Indiana Jones kind of style. Like he is gunslinging away, and I'll defeat these evil mummies with shotguns, and you don't care. Like again, and this is one thing I say, I haven't seen anything before it, so I can't really go, oh, what's this like compared to the kind of originals, if you would. But I still love it. It's far better than the Tom Cruise one. Honestly, if you watch a Tom Cruise one and you tell me that you think that is better than The Mummy or The Mummy Returns or the Scorpion King one, I will slap you. I will slap you. I mean, I could go and talk about the film, as I always like to do, but I would like to pass it on without ruining the plot. Although you should have seen it, because it's from 1999, and who hasn't seen it?
It is one of the classic ones. It's weird when you say as well about Brendan Fraser, because his career did seem to fall away. He seemed to be doing no wrong at that point. Even if you got Universal Studios, like when you go on the ride, for example, where all the wee scarabs come running out of like the walls and stuff like that. it's definitely had a lasting place. I've not seen the Tom Cruise version myself. It's one of the ones, like, usually I think when you say 90s, us as 90s like kids, we tend to avoid a lot of the remakes when they do it because they won't live up to a Brendan Fraser, or they won't live up to like some of the other picks I'm going to talk about later on. But yeah, completely agree. That's a fantastic pick.
Yeah, as you've said, Robert, this is the fourth Indiana Jones film we never got. It's like the exact tone and tenor of that franchise. I mean, not as good as those original three Indiana Jones films, but like really close. It's just a really fun film. And if I can just talk about cherished memories for me, I just remember it would have been like probably about 2002, around about the time The Scorpion King was coming out. But I was at some family party, family gathering, like, of course, I'm the 8-year-old there, so I don't want to like sit. I'm just bored sitting around adults talking to each other and drinking. So someone suggests, "Oh, why don't you go in the watch the TV in the bedroom?" And then so that night, I'd never seen any. I'd heard of the Mummy films, never seen them, but I watched the Mummy and the Mummy Returns right back to back. That was just that just saved the whole experience for me. It was just a really fun time, and yeah, as you say, the Mummy Returns is pretty fun as well. It's not like, I feel like why the first one works better is because it's fun, but it's also got some of that horror element to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy. It works. Horror films don't need to a lot of horror films aren't scary, to be honest. So if you can get that creepy edge on top of what's basically an action film, that works. Yeah, you're talking about how you don't know how close it is. I think I mentioned when I brought up the 30s Mummy, I'm stunned. A lot of the lore of Imhotep in this film is really true to that original film. So I feel like that's why I can safely say this is the best Mummy film, because it is keeping what worked about the original. And as I said a few weeks ago, I think there's a lot about the 30s film that doesn't hold up. So yeah, Brendan Fraser was fun. Great cast across the board. Rachel Weisz is awesome in this. A female lead who's not there to just be even though they do end up together, she's this incredibly intelligent and witty character herself. And yeah, John Hannah's fun. Oded Fehr and Arnold Vosloo. Yeah, don't know what else to say on top of what you've said. It's a great movie. It should be remembered more.
Even as a franchise, well, it launched, say the career, when we got to Scorpion King, it's basically launched the career of The Rock as well.
Yeah.
Which is a weird one. It's that's probably he's with the highest grossing movie actor. I know it was, let's say, last year, the year before. I don't know if he's still currently, but that launched his career. And then a weird parallel, I think, was it Journey that had Brendan Fraser, who then ended up getting replaced by The Rock?
Mm.
So if you kind of look at it as they're rebooting the Mummy a wee bit without the original cast, they're putting The Rock in instead of, say, your Brendan Frasers and whatnot. And then, years on later, The Rock's ended up taking over from him. So
yeah, the whole Brendan Fraser thing has been pretty messy. I think before I was reading, he was sexually assaulted and by somebody quite a big wig. It sounded all really messy. It sounds like he's had a career that he didn't deserve. Not in the sense that he didn't deserve to be famous. I mean, in the sense that where his careers went, that was awful. I still think Brendan Fraser should still be up there, if not. It's maybe a big actor, but we could have still said he should have been bigger longer, because people still say Kevin Costner still regarded as a big actor, but people say he's not as big as he was. And I feel like Brendan Fraser should have at least had that, and just awful things happened in his career. I think he had a hard issue with his family as well in one year, as well as being a divorce. And it's just a shame. And I'm glad to see that he's in. He's doing. People love him in. Is it the DC show?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of that as well.
He plays the robot guy. No, I'm not getting it. Doom Patrol. Just in case anybody has a freak out with. But anyway, he's in that, and he's doing very well. So I've also got soft spots for guys like Brendan Fraser and Nathan Fillion. I just think they're two guys that I just still think I'll see them in another Hollywood A-listing film.
See, Brendan Fraser falls into the category for me where famous I wouldn't say comedians, but comedy actors around about that period. So you've got, say, Brendan Fraser, you've got Eddie Murphy, who was massive beforehand and then kind of faded out. Robin Williams, like before, like obviously he passed away. Jim Carrey as well, even to a degree. Like all those sort of like, even you can say Adam Sandler, but Adam Sandler had a career resurgence, just basically getting his mates involved. But everyone we kind of had at that period of time where we thought like they couldn't do any wrong, as soon as it hit like, say, past say 2004, 2005, they were pretty much gone. Like their box office appeal isn't there anymore.
Yeah, he's definitely, you say comedic actor, but like for me it's like it's something a bit different from that. It's like he doesn't take himself too seriously, but that lets us take him seriously when we need to. Like he's like likable, but you can buy him as the badass when he needs to be. So yeah, hopefully he makes a comeback, because as we say, we know now it was external factors. He didn't lose it, so hopefully.
You never know, they may reboot George of the Jungle again and we could have him back. Oh, that'd be the dream.
So Ryan, what's your choice for best remake or reboot?
So I went for best remake, Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 version. So I know there was the one like years and years back before that. I'd never watched that one previously. But Dawn of the Dead, I think it was something that just revolutionised horror films once again. So the 2004 version, it starred the main actor, Sarah Polley. I'm pretty sure her character was called Anna. So it starts off like typical normal little life. She's coming back from work. She sees a little kid next door, says hi to her, whatnot. It's all perfectly normal scenario. She goes to bed, she wakes up, or her husband in the bed wakes up next to her, and the kid's just standing next to the beds. And then you see the kid is like a zombie at this point. It attacks at her husband's. She then tries to have to get away. It's just such a good film. It's a nostalgia film for me. So basically, we'll skip into all of it. She ends up in, say, a shopping centre. You've got this mismatch of characters that are then all stuck in this shopping centre. Everywhere they look, there's just zombies outside of the buildings trying to get in. And then, like, I think another good example for me of why I really enjoyed this film, it's got the actor Ty Burrell. I'm pretty sure that's his name. He plays Steve. So for anyone that isn't aware, Steve is the dad in Modern Family. And that was such a big TV show. I think everyone was raving about that. I couldn't watch that for years because how much I hated Steve. I thought he was a fucking prick in Dawn of the Dead. She was like, what a good performance that was, at least, because I just couldn't take it seriously. I couldn't take him seriously without thinking, I hate you for what you do in this film. But yeah, it's such a good concept. I think I don't know if this was the first or if there was other ones before it. For me, I hadn't seen any where the zombies are actually running. So the fact that the zombies run, I know that is a hit or miss point for a lot of people. People believe zombies are meant to walk, but the fact that they ran, it just gave it that extra element of like terror. And I don't think horror films have been that good since that period of time. Yeah, I feel like the horror genre's died out pretty much. Like for me anyway, there's nothing that you can watch that will particularly scare you these days, or you've kind of seen it all before. But with that, I thought it was fantastic. Just even the soundtrack as well. The soundtrack was absolutely phenomenal for that. Just everything about this film seemed to click for me. I don't know, I want to say a lot about this film, but even I'm thinking about, like, say, the stuff that's come afterwards. Like, I remember, like, getting, like, an Xbox game, Dead Rising. It's basically someone trapped in a shopping centre for years later. Like, someone trapped in a shopping centre with all these zombies outside. That's not Dawn of the Dead, apparently. It's basically, like, Shaun of the Dead comes out after that. Then all these other things, The Land of the Dead comes out. Day of the Dead comes out, which aren't, like affiliated with Dawn of the Dead, but because that had that impact, all these sort of things came out. And yeah, it's just, for me, it was such a great film. I ended up thinking Sarah Polley was going to be like one of the biggest actresses after that, but I don't think really many people who do the horror genre do end up becoming like big actors. Like, that might be a controversial take there, but no. So basically, it is just people stuck in a shopping centre. There's a guy across the street that holds like a gun shop, for example. It's how they're passing messages across to him. And you can see, because all this is going on, he's getting skinnier and skinnier by the day. Yeah, I just really enjoy it. I could ramble on about it for ages. I think it is rare that if there is a remake, that so many things can be inspired from it. So that's why I went for that as best. What about yourselves? Have you seen it at all?
Well, first of all, 1985, Return of the Living Dead. It's a comedy, but the zombies ran. I'll just say that.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that, please.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like most people go to, obviously, like 28 Days Later is the first modern, like it's the one that really kicked off the modern zombie films, and obviously that's more of a smaller film that like inspired something like Dawn of the Dead you're talking about to bring it to a higher budget and really kick off the zombie apocalypse, I suppose, that we're in right now. But yeah, it's weird that no one really thinks of Return of the Living Dead as the first running zombies films, but I feel like that is because it's such a comedy, that film. But
When I started talking as well, I got it in my own mind and like that. I think this is 28 Days Later that was the first running ones. That was in my mind when I tried to talk about the film, because when I immediately thought about it as well, I thought the parallels between the opening scenes in, say, Dawn of the Dead and 28 Weeks Later. I'm not too sure which ones came out like first out of them now as well.
yeah, 28 Days Later would have been 2 years before
2 years before.
Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, but 28 Weeks Later would have been after it, so that's 5 years after the first, I think. Yeah, Dawn of the Dead. It's it's a fun one, but like for me, like I've said this on like other shows, the original 70s Dawn of the Dead is my favorite zombie movie, and like I feel like it's another case like I was talking about with The Mummy, with what Robert said, of why that original Dawn of the Dead works for me so well is because there's this grim, like not unrelenting, but like a feeling of hopelessness and loss of innocence going through that original Dawn of the Dead. But it's also an incredibly fun film at the same time, where you do get this glee from, oh, what would people do if they were in a shopping mall alone? And like going through like almost procedurally, okay, how do you zombie proof this mall now that we're here, kind of thing. And I feel like that's why the remake doesn't work as well for me, is because it doesn't focus on that stuff. Like there's little bits like, but it's more like set pieces of, oh, what can we do with this area of the mall, etc. But yeah, it's a fun film. The remake of Dawn of the Dead, as we've like not really said yet, Zack Snyder's first film. Obviously, he came from music videos, so he's good with imagery, etc. But it's quite like a adrenalized film to like for someone's first film, I'd say. But yeah, as I say, it's that adrenalized feel that keeps me going through this. Where yeah, it's just entertaining basically. And yeah, the cast is awesome. Ving Rhames is awesome in this. And as you say, I love his relationship, like the friendship he has with the guy on the other side of the street in the gun shop, as you're saying, where like they're playing chess with signboards. And yeah, it's fun. What can I say? I turn it on, I often turn it on, but yeah, it'll never compete with the original for me, basically.
Yeah, I love it. I've said on the other show, I know I love this film. I think James Gunn was apparently a writer on this as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird because he wrote like before he directed anything, he wrote this and he wrote the two Matthew Lillard Scooby Doo movies. So he had a weird career.
Yeah, it is a great. I find it a very good film. I do love it. I do wish they did. It's a weird, like for me, it done something. I really love zombie films, and I'll watch even the very lowest budgeted one. But recently watching zombie films, I was getting really annoyed with how long before the zombies appear. So I really do love, and I think the original was the same. They just gave you the zombies like the first 10, 15 minutes. They just gave you them, which is great. I recently watched The Dead Don't Die, which I think was a weird kind of self-aware comedy with Adam Driver and dreadful. I mean, I thought it was a dreadful film. He didn't really get. He's seen zombies, but he never really was aware until like the 50th minute. So you had 40 minutes, and I hate zombie films that do that. See, if it's a zombie film, please just give them at the start and then build your characters through it. The one thing I do agree is I wish they kind of dealt with them all a bit better. That's my only thing. I just felt like the mall was there. I always wondered, how did they barricade the mall? Like, I don't know how. I did like the fact that the underground car park was a bit cool. I did like that. Seeing that even had me shake myself. Even I was like, don't go there. That's stupid. Somebody's going to get it. And it gave you, spoiler if you've not seen it, and again, I don't really know why you would have. they gave you the old trick where something's moving in the dark. What is it? Oh, it's a dog. Haha, we could all drop our guard and there's this zombie with no legs. It just bounced.
See, just the scene where they're like lowering the dog to go across to it, the guy.
God, even I was.
I couldn't deal with it. I could not deal with it at all.
There was some very good scenes in it. And I did like the human characters, which is quite unusual for a lot of zombie films. It was even Land of the Dead. Land of the Dead which I'm sure was a Romero one as well. It was back to Romero, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Romero, yeah.
It was stupid, but it was okay. It was like fun, stupid, and I actually enjoyed the human characters in that as well. And I think that's what I just don't know. I think it done a good job of giving you a good human vibe. I did some humans. God, you're so right. I did hate a lot of them. Now that I'm going through them, I hated few. I mean, I liked the blonde-haired lassie. Vin Rhames was the daddy in it. I'd have let Vin Rhames just protect me all day long. I'd have give him all the guns. No, I did enjoy the film. I think, in compared to some other zombie films, modern, we'll say, it is maybe one of the better ones. Not the best, but one of the better ones. Because a few modern zombie films are a bit Diary of the Dead. Horrible film.
You know what? I actually enjoy watching Diary of the Dead, but it's not good. That's the thing. You know, it's like it's just that it's a dumb movie, and I love watching it.
Like, does it the ending? Does the guy not get attacked by the mummy-looking character? Or, I mean, I still don't get how the guy at the end gets killed. I still don't understand it. How did it get in? And why was this man? See, no, I'm graphing. I'll talk. Move on.
Yeah, I'll just say one more thing about Dawn of the Dead, which you picked up on, Robert. The characters, there's too many of them. That's the thing, because like if you look at the original Dawn of the Dead and 28 Days Later, for the most part in both those films, you're following 4 characters, and then like in both those films, just mild spoiler alert, you have like a moment halfway through where like one of them dies, and you like it really hits you at that point, because you think, oh, like just going by percentages, 25% of us are gone, and we liked that 25%. So, but whereas with this Dawn of the Dead, I feel like a lot of them are expendable and just there to die, basically. Like, yeah, you like Sarah Polley, you like Ving Rhames, you like the chief security guard. You don't like him, but like you like the fact that you know he's going to die a horrible death at a certain point, you know. But aside from that, a lot of them are useless, one note. Yeah, but yeah, it's entertaining.
Although Ving Rhames sadly can't save a zombie film, because I think he appeared in a Day of the Dead remake.
He did. That was them trying to like fool people into thinking, oh, this is a sequel to Snyder's Dawn of the Dead by having him in it, I think.
These zombies were weird.
Let's just say we should go back to 1968 and urge Romero to properly copyright Night of the Living Dead, and then we would have way less crap zombie movies. You know, you guys know this story, right? Like Night of the Living Dead, Romero's original zombie film, that they changed the name at the last minute and they forgot to print new copyright notices. So that movie was instantly public domain, and that's why you have so many crap Night of the Living Dead remakes. We need to go back and fix that if we have a time machine ever. But yeah, we have about half a dozen really great zombie movies. So yeah, it's a good bit, Ryan. Cool. So we will now move on to the worst remakes, reboots, reimaginings. So Robert, you have an interesting one, so why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, I went for the 2012 Red Dawn. I hate this film. I mean, I hate quite a lot of things, as you all know, but this film was dreadful. In the sense that I usually say there are certain films that can't be remade. And it's not because they're classics, it's because of maybe where they're set and how they're set at the time. The original Red Dawn was set on the back of like the Cold War, with the threat that America could in fact be invaded by Russia and its allies, that Russia could have swarmed Europe. That was a very growing threat. So for that original film, it made so much sense. And plus the casting in the original was better. Again, I know we're not here to talk about is the original better, but it's just I'm pushing to that point in the sense that, as I said, some films shouldn't be remade because of where they're set. And as I said, set in the backdrop with Charlie Sheen, and we had Dirty Dancer,
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze, thank you. I knew I was going to get the revenge here. But it was set on the back of the Cold War, where it was a very strong possibility that America had been invaded. This modern one has got Chris Hemsworth playing Swayze's character, and we've got Josh Peck. For people who don't remember Josh Peck, he was the fat one out of Drake and Josh. I know that was a bit harsh here, the fat one, but he was the one that would just go, Megan! Like, I liked Drake and Josh when I was younger. I wouldn't think I'd see him in an action film. But this film set as America being invaded by North Korea. Now, no, like, I'll tell you right now, in 2012 this film came out, not one does one American truly believe that North Korea can invade all America. Not one person believes that. If they'd if they'd went with the whole nuclear apocalypse in certain cities, and then I think, okay, fair enough, but they didn't. It was just North Korea and some of their allies managed to invade the place, and they're just going, no, rubbish. It's just acting. The acting's pretty poor as well, which I'm weird with Chris Hemsworth. Like, I just want Chris Hemsworth to do action films. I don't find Chris Hemsworth funny. And not to say that he's trying to be funny in this. He is trying his action, and I get action can be a hit and a miss, but this is just a default miss. And I don't know, he just wasn't surrounded by a very good cast. Like, Josh Peck's supposed to be playing Charlie Sheen's character, and he's just whiny all the way through it. And you don't believe him to be like the leader of a resistance. And everything. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it as well. Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays I think, is it the pilot that crashes in the original, if I remember rightly? He's that character. The film does go with certain same things, like their dad's executed and they're trying to round up people, and they've escaped to the nearby kind of national park mountaintop thing. But it just feels like, again, I'm trying to remember in the original if Patrick Swayze was just trying to grip a group of kids together. This film feels like that, but it just feels as if, at least in the Patrick Swayze one, you got that they were there, they were the gorillas. I just never really got it in this film. They always just felt like idiots with guns. Never felt like they knew what they were doing. I never get a feeling of resistance. I just get a feeling of just like childish rebellion. I know that just sounds so weird, but I'm having flashbacks to just, there was like the ending for me is brilliant of the original, you know, again, spoiler if you haven't seen it, but you've got the two brothers, if I remember rightly, I'm sure they do die at the end, but it's like they've just destroyed this whole base. They've basically ended, not the whole war, but they've destroyed key installations that push America to freedom. It's great. This one is just bleh. It's just Chris Hemsworth. I feel like Chris Hemsworth wasn't in this scene. They have an attack. They're going to be in an apartment, and it's called We Done Well. Chris Hemsworth turns into Josh Peck's character and goes, "You grew today. You're like, you've got my." Do you know? You watch the full scene, you go, "He's dying. He's dying here. He's just gave him his sense of approval. He's dying." It's so obvious that what's happening. Chris Hemsworth tells Peck, "Well done." A tank shoots a shell into the house, and it kills Hemsworth allegedly. That's it. Bye bye Hemsworth. No heroic death for you. You're just killed randomly. I mean, I'm sorry, compared to the original. And then, blah, 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 this rubbish happens, and it's Peck. Peck's supposed to be the leader. There's some, you just don't believe that he's a leader of a resistance. And there's this really crappy ending where he's giving a speech, and they're outside a camp, he's in a technical, and you're just going, I'm just glad this is over. As I said, there are certain films that just can't be remade for the timelines, and this was done for the start, I felt, because of the first one was based right in the back of the Cold War. It was at a time when people genuinely believed it would have happened. This is just a bag of nonsense, and the acting's dreadful, innit? Dreadful. I give Chris Hemsworth the benefit of the doubt because it's like 2012, 2013. Although I don't really know if I should. No, in fact, I don't. I'll hold this to him. But Chris Hemsworth done films now where I go, he is a good action hero. And I would like to see Chris Hemsworth continue to do more action films, not stupid comedies or trying to be funny like Men in Black and appearing in Ghostbusters. And I just don't. And Thor Ragnarok, you were just one of funny. You were not. I'm having a rant now. We're having a rant. Just awful film. I don't know if any of you have seen the original or this pile of steaming horseshit.
The only thing I know about this film is I saw it on a list somewhere of films coming out back in the day and had the reaction of, why? That's all I can say.
It's just, there's no need. As I say, I can't state this enough. Some films just cannot be remade for timelines. This is it.
Yeah, like I think I've seen the original one. I've not seen the remake with Chris Hemsworth though. It's no sounding good though. I think I'll definitely give that a miss.
So Ryan, what have you got for your worst remake?
So my worst one, I think I'm kind of going down similar lines. Robert, the whole film is different, but I think it's timelines again. So I went for Dr. Dolittle. So I remember Dr. Dolittle was a film where I held like in such high esteem when I was younger. So you've got all, let's say, the talking animals. You've got Eddie Murphy at pretty much the height of his career where he could do no wrong. Like as we were saying earlier on, he's one of the ones that he's kind of fallen away. And yeah, so you've got the original, I thought was fantastic. It's got all like the sort of humour you need. It's got the crude humour and it's just an enjoyable watch. Whereas I feel like when they remade it, they brought in Robert Downey Jr. instead, which you think great casting. That he's just coming off all the hype with Iron Man and whatnot. So instantly looking forward to it. But I don't know if it's just because of the actor, say like Robert Downey Jr. He's now getting sort of, when you see him, you're expecting that Iron Man sort of thing, but it wasn't that at all. He's just this weird old man that's in the middle of nowhere that self-isolated himself. Children randomly turn up to his house or that, oh, you're Dr. Dolittle, I want to be your friend. And then another child turns up and says, oh, the Queen sent me. She needs you to come in and help with something. I don't know, it just becomes this big fantasy adventure that's over the top, all these like battles and stuff like that. I don't know if it's for me, it's that because I'd seen like the original one and I'm kind of expecting this cheap little laugh. I'm expecting these quirky jokes and it just didn't at all. Like even with Robert Downey Jr., I don't think he worked for that character. I don't think anything landed within it. And it's the fact you've just got these children randomly going like tagging on with Robert Downey Jr. I don't know how to put this film. It's just definitely a missable one. But I don't know if someone's watching this for the first time. Like, I feel like maybe it's now made for a younger audience, and if it's like children watching it the first time, they might enjoy that, which is absolutely fair. But I think for me, because I was kind of expecting something, I got something completely different. I don't know. I definitely hold Dr. Dolittle as my worst. Just nothing seemed to land. Nothing. Just the fantasy adventures, the characters, like even some of them as well. Like I'm excited for, like, say, John Cena as a polar bear. Nah, just nothing's working in it. Have you seen this at all?
I haven't seen it, but again, that's kind of like the whole fault of nothing looked appealing about it, just from the advertising. But yeah, I feel like we're going down a weird rabbit hole here because this is another remake of a remake. Because of course, there's the '60s Dr. Dolittle, and the Eddie Murphy is an adaptation of that. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not totally familiar with Dr. Dolittle, but it kind of proves you can do something totally original with that concept. Like, it's a pretty broad concept, to be honest, guy who can talk to animals, but it just seemed like it falls into the trap of, like you say, like I say a lot of the time, fantasy films, like where a lot of the time fantasy films fail because they miss the fact that you have to have a solid, simple, relatable concept at the center. But like, again, having not seen this version, it just seemed like a lot of it was just based on, well, we'll do that because we can. Like, yeah. Downey wants a franchise. Let's do Dr. Dolittle because it's there. There was just nothing hooking about it, basically.
I haven't had the pleasure of seeing it. I seen the trailer and I went, no. By the way, I've just looked at the cast. This is an all-star cast. You get Downey Jr., Tom Holland, Rami Malek, Emma Thompson, Selena Gomez, Michael Sheen, John Cena, Kumail Nanjiani. You'll know him if I said his name,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know who it is. Ralph Fiennes, Octavia Spencer, Antonio Banderas, Craig Robertson. It's a very big cast. It's a very good cast. But does anybody come across as great? Like Downey Jr. accent. I think I did see a clip once in the telly, and I turned it off. Downey Jr.'s accent was rubbish in it. I didn't have a clue what he was saying, and I don't know why. Again, I don't really know the story of Doctor Dolittle. I don't know where he's supposed to be from and all that. I've never really kept into that. I've only seen the Eddie Murphy ones, and that was it. And that was when I was younger. It was a horrible, horrible film. I think it's got an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, which take of that what you will, because I hate Rotten Tomatoes. It's all a bag of rubbish to me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe in it. I just believe in us. Don't listen to them. When we tell you it's rubbish, it's rubbish.
Like for me, I feel like it is an all-star cast sort of thing, like as you're saying, but it does feel like a lazy cash grab. I don't know if by any other given name it might have done better. If it was just named something else, perhaps it could have stood more of a chance. But no, I did have it on. I didn't pay too much attention to it because nothing grabbed me with it. But yeah, I think with any other given name, it could have stood maybe a fighting chance. But no, it's Dr. Dolittle.
Well, it kind of like just hammers home the point. Downey doesn't, let's face it, Downey made a lot of money off of the MCU. He doesn't need to make something just to make something, you know. He can either happily retire or just do something cool when it comes along. He doesn't need to like just grab a project, a name brand project, just to have a name brand project, you know. Like you've left your mark on cinema. Like, wait until the next really cool thing. Wait until your next Tropic Thunder comes along. Wait until your next Iron Man comes along. Don't do Doctor Dolittle just because it's gonna theoretically make a box office.
I mean, there's talk of Sherlock Holmes, the third one. There's talk about a trilogy. And to be honest with you, I'm a bit like, I don't know now. Scared me a wee bit.
So for me, there was kind of some preamble, some chats about a certain film that, like, we all kind of like felt needed to be brought up here. The chat then revealed the fact that now Robert or Ryan have actually seen this film, so I guess I'm taking it on because I will admit, I do think this is a film that did not need to exist and deserves talking about for worst remake. So grab your pitchforks, people. Prepare to just attack me in the streets, whatever you want, because I'm going with 2016's Ghostbusters. Now, I want to like preface this a little bit. Like, I actually didn't see Ghostbusters until my really late teens, believe it or not. Like, I would have been 17 or 18. So like, I think it's a good film like that I happily watch, but it's not something that like I hold dear like I hold dear Star Wars or E.T. or Indiana Jones, etc. So going into like Ghostbusters 2016, my whole thought was, like I'm just completely on a flat level with it. It's like, it's a film I'm going to see. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. But like the one thing like I kind of felt before I watched it was, you're pitching it at the wrong tone of comedy. Like, I'll say, like, the kind of like films Melissa McCarthy makes, I don't find funny. I haven't seen a lot, but like, she's just involved in a type of film I don't find funny. So like, I had no problem with the fact that they were making a female Ghostbusters. It's like, whatever to me, but it didn't seem like it had the right cast, the right director, etc. And I was proven completely right, because this is a completely unfunny film. Like, I can't say it any cleaner than that. Like, it almost feels like bad cosplay where you don't get the joke of the cosplay, basically. Like just starting off right from the start. Like, you're in this haunted house, like, you know, like a traditional theme park haunted house where once all the patrons have gone away, the guy's there just self-satisfied, laughing with himself about, I run such a great haunted house. And then, of course, the joke is an actual ghost comes out at him. And it's all pitched totally wrong. It's like a parody of a parody. It's like, it's not comedy. It's, I'm pulling a funny face, therefore I'm funny. And that's how a lot of this film goes. Like, there's no genuine, well-written or well-improvised comedy in this. It's all forced gags, really. Whereas, like, you look at the original Ghostbusters, that film lives and dies by the chemistry between the main characters. Like, just the fact that, like, Harold Ramis will say something that he doesn't get is silly, and then you'll have Bill Murray making a offhand comment about it. And then like Dan Aykroyd, of course, is the kind of like naive one who, like, comedy comes from the fact that, like, oh, he's just trying to do the right thing. Well, you have these other two polar opposites on the other side. There's none of that in this film. They, like, say there's that in this film, but there's no character to anything. Like, I know that everyone praises Kate McKinnon in this film, but I despise Kate McKinnon in this film. She's playing this horrid caricature of what Harold Ramis did in the original film by, like, I'm going to constantly pose and talk like I'm a geek who understands science. And you're all going to remember this line I'm saying because it is so quotable. It's just all so forced. And, like, yeah, as I say, Melissa McCarthy, like, makes a type of comedy I don't find funny, but, like, all credit to her from a idea standpoint that she went into this film saying, oh, I want to do something different. I want to be the smart scientist character instead of just the gross out humor one. But by doing that, it's kind of what happens with Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, where you're saying, oh, I'm not going to do something, but you don't replace it with something else, so you just end up with a really flat characterization. And yeah, it makes me feel bad for, like, listening. Kristen Wiig is a good actress. I like Kristen Wiig when she's not in this type of film, and, like, I feel kind of bad that she is often stuck in this type of film where I feel like she could go for much better roles than this. Like, she's basically just the straight man to these other two. And then Leslie Jones, like, I have no issue with Leslie Jones. She seems like could be funny in a different film, but it's just given nothing to do in this film. And yeah, if I can just, like, add insult to injury, basically, all of the surviving original cast have cameos in this, and, like, it like really sums up this film's sense of humor to say that, okay, just to, like, use Bill Murray's cameo as an example, they have him, like, on the TV in the background at one point as this skeptic who doesn't believe in ghosts. And it's like, oh, that's funny. That's funny. Like, just the fact that, like, Bill Murray's there going, yeah, ghosts are a load of crap. And, like, there's part of me that's thinking, oh, you can also read that as being Venkman years later, who's just, like, gone off the track and is just rejecting his past. And it's like, that would be funny if you just left it there, but you didn't. You then bring Bill Murray back in a second scene where he comes in and talks to the Ghostbusters, and you just undo all the funniness about it. So yeah, it's like, as I say, I'm not trying to, like, say, oh, this movie's terrible because you took a brilliant male power film and turned it into a horrible female film. Like, I have no issue with the fact that this movie is casting women. It's just, like, the wrong director, the wrong cast, no inspiration, no humor, no character, no story. It's bad. Ghostbusters 2016 is bad. Just admit it and move on with your life. So yeah, why did you guys not see Ghostbusters 2016, I ask?
Well, I never seen it for several reasons. It was one of the ones I enjoyed the original Ghostbusters. Wouldn't say it was my favourite. I did enjoy it for what it was worth, though. it didn't feel like it needed a reboot. Just kind of like the same with like Doctor Dolittle for myself. Like going on back that I didn't feel like it needed it. Like I wasn't excited to go to cinema and watch Doctor Dolittle. I put it on when it was background noise. My main reason was Melissa McCartney. I just can't watch her. I'm the same as you. I don't find her humour funny. Like I feel like we had Zach Galifianakis for the longest period of time, who did, like say with The Hangover, he was fantastic with those sort of things. Like we say fantastic, he was good at that period of time. Hangover 3 comes over and it's kind of like a passing of the torch moment where she's now going to take over the gross out humour and she's going to be a bigger box office at doing all this. But she always kind of felt one note. I've heard she's not, but I've seen a few films of her where I just feel like I switch off. I'd say as well, it's just a lot of people attacked as soon as this film came out. A lot of people said we didn't need a Ghostbusters, and then you had a lot of people saying you're just saying that because it's a woman cast. Like I wasn't really involved in that debate, but I don't think the film stood a chance because that debate happens. I feel like once you open up that kind of like worms, you open up that sort of debate, the film needs to hit a certain level for everyone to kind of go, yeah, that was really good. But I think that divided opinion straight away, and I don't think the film ever could stand a chance. And I didn't watch it just for Melissa McCartney. I can't watch her. I really can't watch her. Fair play if people find her funny, but I just don't. I really struggle with her.
Yeah, I'm on that sense that I feel that this film is only as spoken about as it is because of all the controversy. I don't think the film deserves to really be spoken about much because I don't think it's a good film. I haven't seen it. You know, I can only go by what people told me, and it's a rubbish film. I looked at the trailer and I thought it was a rubbish film. No one in the cast really made me want to see it. Like, I think society, we've got a problem where if you don't watch a film because of a certain actor or actress, that's fine. Like, I think people don't want to take criticism. I think it was Leslie Jones that just had this big outcry that this film was rubbish because of white men didn't like it. And I'm just going, what a way to just make me as a white man go, you're right, I'm not going to watch a film now. And I'm just going, what a stupid like shot in the foot. Like, people just don't like a film. Fine. We've all done work, we've all been in things, we've all played roles where we went, that wasn't very good, or we didn't do a good job, and you're fine, you take your criticism, you move on, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I actually forgot who the Ghostbusters were in this because I had to look it up. I only knew Kirsten Wiig and Melissa McCarthy. I'm 50-50 with Kirsten or Kristen Wiig. I think she was funny in Paul for me. I thought she was very good in Paul. She was so annoying in Anchorman 2. I thought there was no need for that. Much like Melissa McCarthy, I really loved her in her TV show. Was it Mike and Molly? I don't know if it was her show, but
yeah.
Mike and Molly, she was like the star of, you would say. I thought she was great in that. I loved that. She was smart and sweet in that. Then she seemed to transcend to play these very boring, like, I'm a heavy-set woman joke. And Rebel Wilson kind of filled that all as well. And I think it's very thingy that I think Rebel Wilson's just seemed to have disappeared as well now. I would say good because I don't find them funny. Like, you can't play on your body humour, which you can, but you can't play on it and then moan that you only get cast in it. Deal with it. I mean, The Rock gets cast in things because he's a big guy. Arnold Schwarzenegger originally got cast in things because he was a big guy. Sometimes you have to deal with what you've created, and then you can evolve it. I just don't think they were at that stage. But then Melissa McCarthy moans about it. She's then got a new film out with Octavia Jones on Netflix about these 40 to 50-year-old women being superheroes, and the whole running joke is they're heavy-set, middle-aged women in lycra, and they can hardly climb into their cars, and it's just very boring comedy. And I've now forgotten, I got Melissa McCarthy too. Can't really be bothered with Melissa McCarthy. So I'll never see Ghostbusters, in the sense that I will not see Ghostbusters Afterlife either. In the sense, I'm not a massive die-hard fan of Ghostbusters. I like the films. I think they're good to watch. I prefer, is it the second one? The second one had the painting. That was it. That's my favourite one if I had to pick. But I don't think they're great. I think they're good films. I think, my dad's generation, I think they love the films because it's their generational film. But I just think the film became so controversial because people didn't like it. And it was like, well, if we find a controversial point, we can still have the film spoke about. I don't think many people did have an issue with the whole female cast. I don't think anyone cared. They made that an issue. I mean, Bridesmaids was an all-female cast. No one cared. Bridesmaids I've seen. I thought Bridesmaid was okay. Bridesmaids had Melissa McCarthy in it, and I'm sure it had Kirsten Wiig in it as well. So I just don't see. You make one film and it's not, people don't like it. Stop pulling out that it's racist or it's, gender or it's homophobic. Who people just don't like your film? Who?
Yeah, like I generally think if Melissa McCarthy wasn't in this, I would have probably gave it a chance. I wouldn't have went out my way to pay for it at the cinema. But if I seen it say on like Sky or Netflix at some point, I'd go, that's worth a watch. Let's give that a bash. The reboot that Ghostbusters is again, are they not? Am I right in thinking that?
Ghostbusters
reboot.
Afterlife. Well, it's meant to be like a sequel to the first two, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Paul Rudd's supposed to be playing one of their sons. I think that was the storyline.
See, I enjoy Paul Rudd, but like he doesn't make me go, I need to see this now because Paul Rudd's in it. It's like he's an alright watch. It's okay for background noise.
But I've got no doubt that this new film will probably cause controversy if it does well, because people go, that's because it's got blah blah. Like somebody will find a reason for this film to be controversial as well because of this film, the 2016 version.
Yeah, some of them will do good, some of them won't. It's the law of what we're talking about. It's like I hate Ghostbusters 2016. I am not a sexist. Like I'll say the recent Little Women film, like no one would expect I'd love that film, but I love that film. Like I'll talk related to my wildcard pick. I thought Ocean's 8 was decent, and I liked the cast, but just didn't think the plot was that great. So yeah, it's like you can't pigeonhole people just because they don't like a film. Basically, like Ghostbusters 2016 is bad, and it's got nothing to do with gender. So let's liven everything up and send everyone off with our wild cards for tonight. So Ryan, what have you got for us?
So my wild card is Jumanji. Now I think Jumanji is one of the ones everyone loved, like the original. I feel like they enjoyed the original. If you've not, I don't know who's not seen Jumanji. I'm not going to talk about the original Jumanji because it's Jumanji. You got the board game, yeah, everyone enjoys it. So when they were remaking the new Jumanji, I think this had a wee bit of controversy about it. I remember seeing online, why are they remaking Jumanji? Why can't they leave the originals alone? Blah blah blah. It didn't have anywhere near the controversy of, say, like Ghostbusters or whatnot. But there was a bit of an outcry. Why is this happening? But I feel like the cast just for this is great. So it's basically people are playing like this sort of video game. It sucks the men. They're becoming characters. And yeah, it's like children basically become characters and then they become The Rock. They become, say, like Kevin Hart and whatnot. They're all just good characters. I'm digressing a wee bit there, but I feel like the reason I picked that as wild card is because I actually didn't mind it. I actually thought it was okay, and I think that's really, really rare with reboots. I feel like with a lot of the reboots we've talked about, why was it made? You think, why is this? Why is that? But with this one, when you actually watch it, it's not the worst film. It's enjoyable. I remember sitting there like in Jumanji 2 came out, and I was actually I'm bored. I'm like, what am I going to do? Oh, Jumanji 2 is on Sky. Oh, I'll look forward to seeing that. Just something to pass the time. I think it's rare these days you get a reboot where it kind of can take a life of its own and franchise on its own. With like this Jumanji, it's more to a modern audience. You've got people like basically try to go through the jungle, complete the game Jumanji. But like, I believe most people have seen it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it took a life of its own. It became a franchise. And I think if someone was watching that for the first time and didn't watch the original Jumanji, they would quite enjoy it. You seen it, Peter?
I actually haven't seen the recent Jumanji films, but as you say, like that original from the 90s, that's a point of nostalgia, obviously. And it's another one again where you've got the kind of mild horror factor to it as well as the adventure. So I feel like that's one I need to revisit. I've not watched it in years, but yeah, I remember it being a fun one. But yeah, these recent ones, again, haven't seen them. But I feel like what you're saying, I would turn them on if there was nothing else to do, like just because it's a good cast and just looks like good fun. So I may end up there.
That's why I've kind of picked it as a wild card. Like, I think everyone knows it. See, like I've had the same experience with Jumanji, Dr. Dolittle, put both of them on background noise. Jumanji's kind of took my interest. Dr. Dolittle hasn't. I've just thought there was no need for this. But I feel like if you watch either of them the first time, you wouldn't enjoy that Dr. Dolittle, but you would enjoy that Jumanji, if that makes sense. It's not the greatest film, but it's doing well enough to franchise, and I think it strayed away a good wee bit from the original where it can stand on its own. It's not trying to be a carbon copy of the first one. Yeah. So I quite enjoy the fact that you can hold the two of them as separately. Like for me, at least, anyway. What about you, Rob? Have you seen it at all?
No, I haven't seen them. Jumanji, I don't even really remember much for the original Jumanji. A while again since I've seen it. This is another one of these films where the cast kind of put me off. I will say one thing, I did like the idea of it was a video game, and this is what I'm talking about. See, when I say like some things can't be redone because of times, some things can, and I think they did modernise it quite well with a video game, because obviously the original was a board game. I now say that questioningly, that I'm think I'm like 90% right. It was a video game. When it had the video game trope, because I can't remember if it was this one or the second one, is it they meet the fella in the Jeep, and it's like he just keeps repeating the storyline. I don't know if that's the first or the second one. I've seen a clip, but it's like that whole running joke in games, especially earlier games. Your learning curve. It's like if you don't leave, the guy just keeps repeating himself, and I found that quite interesting. They all have strengths and weaknesses. I found that element, for what I've seen clips and trailers, quite good. And I think once I put my kind of my issue with Kevin Hart and the Rock partnership away, I probably will watch the film because it does look fun. My only problem is the second one from trailers looks the same jokes, the same film. I might be wrong. It probably is a completely different film when you watch it.
I would say it pretty much is. It pretty much is. The first and the second, they are kind of just similar. But I don't feel like they take themselves too seriously. I think they kind of know what they are.
No, I think it's good. I think another thing that ruined it for me is someone mashed up, was it Jungle Cruise with The Rock? Like pictures and clips of that with this, and it's the same film. And now my head gone, oh, The Rock, you're the same guy now. Go back to Scorpion King. The Rock's another one of these guys, like, look, I'm not going to sit and criticise the guy's worth millions, he's got all good stuff. My Rock is always an action film. I just want to see The Rock in things like faster. I get we're all different. I don't want to see The Rock in Jumanji. I want to see The Rock in a jungle shooting villagers, not in a bad way. I mean, I probably will. Eventually, I will watch it. I think it is a very good pick, because I do remember a lot of people going, "Oh, this is a joke." Robin Williams, he can't do it, and then people went, "That's pretty good."
Yeah, it's like for me, I think Robin Williams was one of the big first celebrity deaths I remember actually hitting me and feeling like, oh, actually, it was a weird one when he died. Like, there's been so many celebrities, but I think for me, he was like a big part of my childhood, sort of like just enjoying his sort of films. But then to actually have something reboot it, where I'm sitting thinking, no, I don't want to see this. And then having a reboot and going, that's actually not bad. I can see why he did it. Yeah, it's completely agree.
Cool. So for my wild card, I'm going to go with another one of my all-time favorite films, and I feel like this is another one that most people don't know is a remake. It is 2001's Ocean's 11, directed by Steven Soderbergh, and yeah, this is just like, for me, it is one of the, like, it sounds like cringy to say one of the coolest films ever made, but for me, this is one of the coolest films ever made. Like, so if you don't know the plot, it's all about Danny Ocean, played by George Clooney. He's a career criminal who is just getting out of jail after some crime, obviously, and to find that his wife, played by Julia Roberts, has left him while he's been in jail. And so he's going to put the old crew back together, and he's going to do this massive heist on these free casinos in Vegas owned by Terry Benedict, who's played by Andy Garcia, who, of course, throughout the course of the film, we find out is actually now with Danny's ex-wife. So there's the revenge plot there. And yeah, we just go around meeting all the characters. And that's like what's so awesome about this film is the characters. It's like something that doesn't usually work, of like taking these real life personalities and transplanting them into a film. But here it just creates this gang that you just love hanging out with. And like, just the way that like George Clooney and his second in command, played by Brad Pitt, like the way those two just like one will start a sentence and then the other one will cut in like with his opinion before it's finished, but you never get the full sentence, and you get the like sort of like, well, we could always, what, by tomorrow? Yeah, you're right. And like, you just get the sense, oh, this is how Clooney and Pitt are in real life, and it's just got this amazing energy to it, and like cool vibe to it, and like that's kind of like where like it works as a remake, because you go back to the original Ocean's 11, which was the Rat Pack, and it's a good film. I'd say I've watched it like about a year ago for the first time. Yeah, it's an entertaining film, and that film really coasts on the fact that you're just enjoying yourself watching the Rat Pack hanging out and then doing this heist. But like that's really it's just about the charm of the Rat Pack, that original film. This film has the charm and chemistry of the cast, but it also is a brilliantly put together heist film. Like I can marvel at this film's screenplay, like how everything pays off and like comes back in weird ways, and like the heist, the way they set up the heist. Like I can't go through it all, obviously, but it's just so well designed in a way that Soderbergh gives you just enough information whereby you can follow the planning of the heist and you can enjoy the planning of the heist. But then when they get to the heist, there's so many like things you didn't know they were doing with the heist that like just hit you like, oh, that's how they're doing that, and that's what that meant earlier. And it's just an incredible feel-good film. Like even though it's got this like revenge plot by the end of it, like you're just constantly enjoying being with these characters and enjoying the mechanics of the heist. And then by the end of the film, just like, I'm just going to spoil, of course they get away with the heist, so it's not that much of a spoiler, but like the scene like where like they've like driven back to the base and like they walk out of the shadows onto the strip, and like you've got the Claire de Lune playing in the background. It's beautiful. It's like so like emotional in a film that you wouldn't have expected to get emotional. Just the fact that they're all like walking out onto the strip, watching the fountain, and they're all smiling about what they pulled off. It's a beautiful film. Like and like the characters, I've said like it's all about the cool factor, but the characters are fully rounded characters. Like you just totally get the like bromance between Clooney and Pitt, and yeah, you get like their relationship with Elliot Gould, who plays the guy who's like financing the whole operation, and you sort of get the idea of like, oh, he's like the guy who's kind of brought these two up in the crime world, and like there's this kind of like father-son relationship between him and George Clooney. And yeah, like if I can just talk about this cast, so you got Clooney and Pitt, as I'm talking about, but you also got Matt Damon in like a fairly early role, and that's another thing I love, which I feel like is another adaptation of real life, because you get the feeling that Clooney just likes to prank people in real life, and you get that in this film where, like, again, spoiler alert, they make out to Matt Damon's character that Clooney and Pitt have had this falling out, and that Clooney is leaving the heist and Pitt's just going to run the whole thing. But then when you get to the actual heist, Clooney shows up like in the elevator with Damon, and Damon's like, "Hey, what's going on?" It's like, "Yeah, we were just faking you out to see what you'd do," basically. So yeah, this is amazing film. Like, yeah, and as I said, Bernie Mac's in this. He's like just really funny, just like Don Cheadle. Like, obviously we all like know about Don Cheadle's doing a very suspect British accent in this film, but he's just really fun. And that's where like characters like him are where they, like, I always refer to this as the most quotable film of all time. Like, and like anyone can challenge me on that, but this is a film that I just quote practically daily. Just like when they recruit Don Cheadle and he's like, terrific, it'll be nice working with proper villains again. Or just when Elliot Gould they're trying to like get Elliot Gould to give them the financing for the heist, and like he just goes on this rant about, he's just going all sarcastic after he's done all the reasons why it'll fail, and he's going, "What am I saying? You guys are pros, you're the best. But let's not forget, once you're out the door, you're still in the middle of the fucking desert." And yeah, this is an amazing film. Like, I can't like sum up how much I love this film. It's a perfect film for me, and like it should just be entertainment, but it's so much more than that for me. So, you guys seen this one?
Yeah, I have seen it. It's been like a good couple of years since I've seen it. I actually didn't know it was a remake. I didn't know that was a remake. Once you did say like the Ocean series there, I was like, oh, I know they have remade it, but I've not watched the new one. But no, I didn't know the Brad Pitt one was a remake at all.
Yeah, they're great. I love them. You're so right. Brad Pitt was just cool. Brad Pitt was so cool in it. Like, you all wanted to be Brad Pitt in it. Brad Pitt was just the cool. Like, they were all cool. Even Matt Damon and his weird, kind of geeky, kind of nervous, wanting to take control by. The villain was brilliant. He actually felt like an evil businessman. I knew there was a remake and I knew the original, but I'd never seen the original, so I do have to just say that personally, I just think this one's the best. I've seen the other like 12 and 13. I haven't seen the spin-off. It was at Ocean's 8 or 9. Or...
Yeah, Ocean's 8. Yeah.
Yeah, but when we talk about the other films, we talk about Ocean's 11. It was just a cool film. Did it have its plot holes? I think a lot of people say aye. Do you care? No. Like, it's a fun film. Like, I don't know what else I want for it. It's just, it's cool. You know, George Clooney's cool. Matt Damon's relatively cool in a weird way. Brad Pitt's just cool. The cast is brilliant. The villain's evil. You want them to be robbed hard. The cutscene for him explaining the three men that have tried to rob a casino, that was great. You know, he ran. What was it? He ran. They shot. Something.
It was like he came. He saw. They conquered. Yeah, and then at that moment they shoot him, and all the money just goes in there. Yeah.
The music. See, that's my thing about Bank Heist. The music was great as well. I always just felt it guided you through the scene. I loved the brothers. You know, Casey Affleck played one of them, and then it was
Scott Caan was the other one.
Yeah, they were great as well. They were just a couple of idiots that were at each other's throat. That is great. It's quite an underrated pick. I think a lot of people don't know it's original. It's a remake. It's a cool film. That is cool.
No, like I certainly didn't know it was a remake at all. It's just the cast: Brad Pitt and George Clooney. Like immediately, like they would stuff like the Men That Stare at Goats and all that come out. You want to see because you want to see them play those characters again.
Yeah, love Ocean 11. We'll watch it dozens more times, hundreds more times before I die. So, Robert, why don't you round us off with your wild card tonight?
I went for the 2017 film Papillon, which is a remake of, I think, is it 1973? And the 1973 film had starred Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman. So the reason I'm picking this is I only watched both of these films last month, and I always heard a lot of people hating on the remake. And Amazon put the remake up first, so I watched the remake, which is Charlie Hunnam in Steve McQueen's place, and Rami Malek in Dustin Hoffman's place. And do you know what? I haven't watched the original, because Amazon then put the original up like 3 days later. I don't really see a difference in the acting. Like, I think the casting, if you're doing a remake, is good. I think they look like it. They actually still look like the characters. Basically, the film is set. Papillon is like a safecracker, and he's, I think, stole from the wrong person. He's been framed for murder in France. He is French. So what happened back in the days? Because it's also still set in it's still set not in 1973, set in like 1901 or something. It's set like way that way. They'll get sent to a French colony prison, which is, I think it was near South America. Wait, I think it's, might be wrong, my geography may be well out the window, but I think it's like French Guiana, which I think is closer to the South Americans. But it is, anyway, basically he gets sent over there for what I feel is it's just a horrible, horrible prison. Obviously back in the days there was no really rights. You know, they're all transported on a ship. Rami Malek's character's well known. He's this big rich man who's there for counterfeiting. He has a lot of money stuffed up his backside, so to speak, because that's the way it works, this prison. So, and I said Steve McQueen there. Charlie Hunnam's character, Papillon, offers to protect him. He says, no, I'll find my own means. Fine, whatever. They're all packed onto a big cargo ship, and he's just like, on you go. Sleep in the one cell bit and all that. there's another wee rich fella that sleeps next to Rami Malek's character, and I very much in the same. In the original, this is all the same. The original, basically what happens is, in the original, Dustin Hoffman sleeps, wakes up, and the guy's dead. Next to him, he's the person next to him. In this one, Rami Malek wakes up in the middle of the night to see the guy being murdered. But anyway, both of them go to Papillon, the remake and the original. Papillon protects him, and basically the whole film is Papillon going out his way, getting into fights to try and protect Rami Malek, not because he feels sorry for him, is that he wants to escape and money is the object to go off to buy a boat and stuff. Now, this is what I love about both films. They have the same story, but they're kind of different in certain scenes. So, there's an escape. One scene, I'm trying to think, in the original, it is really only Rami Malek, in the original it's Hoffman, Steve McQueen, and two other fellas who attempt an escape. One's actually killed in the prison, three get away, and they sail away. And the boat is fine, there's no issues with the boat. In the remake, and I know I'm skipping a lot, but it's mostly just prison stories. The boat's buggered and all four of them get away, but the boat's sinking and Rami Malek must become a murderer to save Charlie Hunnam's character, saying Steve McQueen. The film, they get caught, right? They've tried other escapes. There's these rules that you'll be put 5 years in solitary confinement. So Charlie Hunnam and Steve McQueen's character, Papillon, basically in both films, is sent. And it's the same storyline again. They've both been sent coconuts. But somebody finds out about the coconuts, the guards. So now Papillon has been put under not only solitary confinement, the lights blocked, he's in a room of darkness on half rations for years. And the whole point is he'll either die or be broken. In the film, both films, I think it's an improvement, if you would, in cinema, that the original film has a lot of, the clips of someone's dead, let's paint them white and put random red bits and pink eyes. But Steve McQueen acts it so well that now you go, my God, he's doing very well. Like, it's all madness, it's proper mad, like people having a tea party in the middle of the desert. It's all about Steve McQueen losing it. Whereas in the original, they can, obviously now with cinema, they can do a lot more. So it's more about Charlie Hunnam's Papillon having a kind of flashbacks and scenes, and he's also going mad. Basically, he survives, and it's just a mental kind of breakdown of how man can't be broken. Again, perfectly acted. Charlie Hunnam for me, I think it's a lot of bad stick because he's perfectly acting this film. I don't see any difference between him and Steve McQueen, and maybe that is some people's problem. As I say, they attempt their big escape on the boats, right? Because they've had I'm trying to remember the timelines, but they do their big escape. The boat. Now, this is where I say the film has the same storyline but different scenes. So in the original, he lands in a Columbia. They're chased and shot. Only Steve McQueen's character gets away. Dustin Hoffman sent back. He kind of sits with a naval tribe. The tribe gain diamonds. The tribe leaves. He must leave. He then ends up with a kind of Catholic, kind of nun missionary. They stick him in. In the remake, he arrives at a tribe, but it's already got the Catholic missionary there. So they kind of follow the same storyline, but maybe just differences in scenes, tribe first, then the missionary, whereas in this one, it's the remake, it's the missionary in the tribe. But it's very good. It's a very good film. It's long. Both of them are very long films, but they're very good psychological thrillers. What I would say without spoiling the ending is in the original, the ending just ends with, well, I'm going to spoil the ending, sorry, so spoiler alert. Papillon in the original, they both get sent to Devil's Island, which was, that's you, you'll die here, you cannot escape. It turns out Dustin Hoffman's character, whose name I forgot now, has been there already. Papillon escapes. And that's how the film kind of ends in the original. Papillon just jumps into the water. That's it, on a flotation that they've created. And it doesn't show you any more. It then tells you that he escaped. Because it's all based on a book. It's all based on true stories. There is a memoir of Papillon. It's true. Charlie Hunnam one shows him escaping. And it shows him in France again, giving all his memoirs. I mean, I don't really have a lot of time to try and explain the full film, but I think I'm putting it in underrated because I think Charlie Hunnam and Rami Malek got a lot of criticism for no reason, because this film I'd say is on par with the original. There are things from the original that I prefer and I wish the remake had used, but there are things for the remake that I prefer than the original. I think the relationship between Rami Malek and Charlie Hunnam is played out more than it is between Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman. But again, the original has a brilliant scene with lepers, which the remake doesn't use, and I don't know why, because it's a great scene. But I mean, I'm going to ramble about rubbish. I don't know if any of you two have actually seen this film or any of them.
No, I've not actually seen either. I've not seen either of those at all, man. Does sound like a different casting sort of choice to go from the original to that with Rami Malek at least, but
they play it quite well. I think Rami Malek and Dustin Hoffman play the character very well. It's just like a wheedly, very rich guy who just thinks something bad can happen to him, not because he thinks he's untouchable, it's just he's too innocent. Whereas Steve McQueen and Charlie Hunnam both play the kind of criminal very well.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of these either, but yeah. Obviously, Steve McQueen has a good track record with prison movies, if you go by The Great Escape, so I'll have to check out that original. But yeah, this remake, I've just been looking it up on the side, has what, a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's for a remake, that's fairly decent, I'd say, and it feels like, you know how like scores can speak to you sometimes, where like that kind of like speaks to me about, oh, maybe it is better than that 52%, and a lot of people just are thinking, yeah, but the original's out there, so I don't really care. So, yeah, probably be up for checking that out at some point.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's Charlie Hunnam. And I think after Sons of Anarchy, people are still trying to pinpoint, like, where is he? He's great in The Gentleman. I enjoy Charlie Hunnam. I think he's a good actor. I've not got a problem.
yeah, no, he's always been one of the ones I've always had time for, like, especially when you go back to Green Street and stuff like that as well. Yeah, he's quite enjoyable. I can see him playing a Steve McQueen role. It was just the Rami Malek and Dustin Hoffman one that's a wee bit intriguing for me. But no, it seems like I should get a bash.
Yep, that's a good choice there, Robert, to finish us off. So, I know you were talking a lot about Scarface in the pre-chat, so do you want to throw that in as an honourable mention at all? Or
well, I haven't seen the original Scarface, I think, which was in the mid-30s or just after the 30s, but I know the story is basically, that is based on the prohibition in drink. So, whereas this one is very much jumped on the cocaine explosion from South America hitting and the Cuban crisis where it was Fidel Castro sent over all the immigrants and they just happened to be mostly criminals. And Al Pacino, who, controversial take, I may say this. I'm not saying this is his best ever role. I think this is definitely his top 3. But I think if most people say Al Pacino to the common person, I say common person, I am the common person. I'll say Scarface. You know, Scarface. Like, Scarface is a wonderful film. Again, haven't seen the original. We all know Scarface. It's set, I think, 80s. The music's brilliant. The visuals are great. The violence is through the roof. A lot of swearing, a lot more swearing. Probably, in fact, I don't think there's any swearing in the original because of the time. But this is swearing, gunfights, coke, music. It's a proper film. This is what you want. What a film. Al Pacino is fantastic in it, becoming the big. You know what? No, which is weird. Scarface is the party. Scarface is not. Tony Montana is not a good guy in this. He's not a nice person, but you root for him. You want him to be the biggest drug dealer in America. You want him to kill Kyle. You want him to be the main baddie. It's a great film.
You know that Scarface. I haven't seen the original either, but yeah, obviously it's Power Talks, so I quite like. I love The Big Sleep and His Girl Friday, so I'd be interested in watching that at some point. But yeah, the 83 Scarface, you know, it's half a really good film and half a kind of silly film, is what I'll say. Like, Pacino is not the kind of performance we usually call great, but at some point it's crossed over and been canonized, if you know what I mean, where, you know, it's a racy performance, you know. an Italian dude playing a Cuban dude is not what we would do nowadays, and it's very over the top. It is crazy, but like it is so watchable at the same time. So yeah, Scarface is good. Like it's overlong. It's got some stupid moments in it. Like also love is this a trend in Pacino films? He has a tiger in his garden, which is awesome. But then you see Donnie Brasco, like, and at a certain point his mates buy him a lion that he's just walking around with. So is this a trend in Pacino films? I don't know.
I feel like it was the film where he was allowed to be over the top, because that's one thing I would say about Al Pacino. I feel like he still tries to be, whoa, hey, whoa. He's a bit much. Whereas this film, you go, cool.
It's weird, like, as we're getting older, there's certain films that people won't have watched before, and when they watch it, say like a 2020 version or 2021 version, that'll be their first time watching. I kind of like the fact that we've done this. We've all talked about like which ones hold up to the original, which ones can be their separate entity. The fact that some of them are both enjoyable. But I do think as soon as anyone does mention we're remaking a certain film, instantly you're just like, no, I'm put off by that instantly. Just because it's a nostalgia thing.
That's the thing. As long as you get the right people making it and making it the right way, like I keep thinking of things. 12 Angry Men is a remake of a TV movie. Like that was like that exact story, almost the same script was done as like a TV movie of the week, and then like Sidney Lumet just turns that into this masterpiece, and you're like, yeah, it's like if you come at it with something to say, remake it, you know. So on that note, I will say again, Robert and Ryan, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
And to the audience, thanks for watching again. Have a good week. We'll see you next time.
Odell Fair is like it plays Ardeth Bay, who, if I'm rightly, I can't remember I want to say the Mujahideen, but I don't think that's the right group. I think that's a terrorist group. Oh, sorry, a freedom fighter group.
You do know that the Mujahideen is literally what became Al Qaeda, right?
Yes, I know. Don't start with me. I can't remember what they're called. The boat's attacked by the group that I called the Mujahideen, but I don't know what they're called, so I'll stop calling them Mujahideen.
Magi.
The Magi. There we are, Peter. Peter saved the day. Will not receive any complaints. The Magi good. The others will not talk about.
Like even John Hannah, he's fantastic in it as well. I met him once before as well. It was one of the weirdest experiences in my life meeting John Hannah. So I was working like on a TV show sort of thing. It was all my character was to do was to like say chap the door of someone's house and then like deliver a pizza. And it's going to be like John Hannah and someone else in the house. But I had no idea it was John Hannah. I was looking at him going, you look familiar, but I thought he was just some old TV extra. So he's like that. What's your name? I'm like, oh, my name's Ryan McLachlan. So he starts looking me up on Instagram. And he's like, oh, I can see you here. You were in Essex at this point. And he's like, oh, I can see you done a show here. So I think it was like a picture of probably like me and you, Robert. He's sitting talking to me about that. And I'm like, yeah, I did all this. And I was looking just for an excuse to get out. I'm like, who is this old man? He's weirding me out just now. So I'm going to.
Could have got you work. You could have been in the Mummy Returns.
Oh,
you could have been in the Mummy 3 with Jet Li.
It was literally one of the ones I go out for a cigarette, and John Hannah comes out with me. And I give him a cigarette, and then he's getting all this like sort of special treatment. I'm like that. I'm so confused what's going on here. But yeah, it turned out it was John Hannah. I had no idea at the time, but I did think he looked familiar. And I'm sitting talking away to him. Oh, he was fantastic. You got a chauffeur to give me a lift home and all that night.
I feel like we should launch a show just about you bumping into famous people, Ryan. You've got some stories in you, my friends. But
I never realised it's famous half the time though. It doesn't. I feel like it doesn't take itself too seriously. You've got The Rock, you've got Kevin Hart, you've got Jack Black. Oh, I forgot the other person's name. This is going to bug me so much now.
Karen Gillan.
There we go. Who's also in Avengers.
Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito in it?
He's in the second one, isn't he? Yeah.
I'll stay away then.
Yeah.